Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a course that doesn't just teach students stuff, it actually turns them into creators of knowledge. We're breaking down exactly what it takes as a school leader to successfully bring AP research to your campus and really empower that next generation of scholars.
Now, you could say this is the mission for all AP courses, right? But AP research, well, it takes this to a whole other level. This isn't about cramming for one big test. It's about building those deep, foundational skills of academic inquiry that are going to serve students for their entire lives, in college, and way, way beyond.
So here's our game plan. We're going to talk about why this course is such a big deal, what the journey looks like for a student, the super important roles that both teachers and administrators play, a practical checklist for implementation, and of course, the huge payoff for your students.
Okay, let's jump right in with the most important question of all. Why should your school invest the time, the energy, and the resources into this specific course? What's the big idea? Well, think of this course as an engine for building real college readiness. It's so much more than just subject knowledge. It builds the habits of mind that colleges and, frankly, employers are crying out for. Students don't just learn about research, they actually become researchers. And in doing so, their reading, writing, and analytical skills improve in ways that get them ready for literally any high-level challenge ahead.
So, what's it actually like to be a student in this class? Let's put ourselves in their shoes for a minute and walk through their path, from just a spark of an idea all the way to a finished piece of scholarship.
And this right here is the absolute key, ownership. This is not some cookie-cutter assignment. We're talking about a year-long, deep dive into a topic the student is genuinely, personally curious about. That personal investment, that's the fuel for the whole thing, and it makes the learning feel so much more real and meaningful.
And the thing they create at the end of this journey is substantial. We are talking about a 4,000 to 5,000 word academic paper. Just let that sink in for a second. This is not your average high school essay. This is a legitimate piece of scholarship that looks a whole lot like the work they'll be doing as freshmen and sophomores in college. And you can see just how rigorous and authentic the structure is. Students can't just write an opinion piece. Nope. They have to place their work inside an existing scholarly conversation. That's the literature review. They have to justify their methods, present their findings, and then talk about what it all means. It is a completely professional process from start to finish.
Now, how is this whole thing graded? Well, it's broken into two main parts. The massive academic paper makes up the lion's share, 75% of the score, and that's graded externally by the College Board. The other 25%, that comes from a presentation and an oral defense, which is scored right there by the teacher. So you get a great mix of assessing both their writing and their communication skills.
All right, this brings us to one of the two most critical adult roles in this whole process, the teacher. And in AP research, the teacher's role makes a huge shift. You're not the sage on the stage anymore. You become a facilitator, a guide for the student's own journey of discovery. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. The teacher's job is all about asking probing questions, checking in on progress, maybe suggesting a new resource, but not giving the answers. I want you to pay close attention to that do not column. Teachers can't write, revise, or give really specific directive feedback. They are the guardrails, not the driver. And that distinction, it is absolutely essential for the integrity of this course. Okay, now for the administrator's role. If the teacher is the guide on the ground, the administrator is the architect. You're the one who has to build the whole supportive environment where this kind of high-level work can even happen. And this is where the rubber meets the road for school leaders. It all starts with making sure your teachers get to that mandatory summer training. It means making sure you can provide access to real scholarly databases. And this is a big one. You have to ensure every student has reliable, one-to-one access to technology. But two of the most critical supports are about scheduling. You have to carve out time for those 15-20-minute presentations and helping teachers put together the 3-person panels for the oral defense. Without that structural support, the course just can't work.
So let's take all of that and boil it down into a clear, actionable blueprint for getting your AP research program up and running smoothly.
Think of this as your must-do list. These are the non-negotiables. Getting your teachers trained and getting through the course audit, that's step one. But the logistics are just as important. I'm telling you, one-to-one tech for every student and a master schedule that allows for both the presentations and dedicated time for teachers to score them, getting these foundations right makes everything else possible.
And this timeline gives you a bird's eye view of how the year plays out. By the end of November, student research proposals have to be approved. Then, the winner is really the heavy lifting, research and writing. The hard deadline for students to upload that final paper is April 30th, and that's followed closely by a May 10th deadline for teachers to get those presentation scores submitted. Planning your school year around these dates is absolutely key.
So after all this planning, all this support, all this hard work, what is the real return on this investment? For your students and for your school? Let's talk about the payoff.
Well, for your most committed students, you've got the AP Capstone Diploma. And let me tell you, this is a huge deal. It's a prestigious award that colleges across the country recognize. It tells them that a student has truly mastered scholarly skills and has excelled across a whole range of tough subjects. It's a powerful credential.
But really, the true payoff is for every single student who completes the course. And this is what matters most. They all walk away with these core, transferable skills. They learn how to do real scholarly work, how to analyze complicated evidence, and how to communicate what they've found effectively. These aren't just skills for a test. These are the skills that define success in college, in a career, and honestly, in life. That is the ultimate goal here.
So the question for every school leader watching is this. With the right setup, the right support, and the right vision, AP Research can be a transformative experience for your students. It prepares them for what's next in a way that no other course really can. The blueprint is right here. So how will you champion the next generation of scholars at your school?